This is a tutorial on how to work the default Cessna Citation Longitude jet that comes with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's a little bit different from the aircraft that came in the older versions of Flight Simulator, but not too tough to get used to. So why don't we just go ahead and get it going. And once we're up, I'm going to show you how to work the autopilot, set the radios, stuff like that. So to get it going, you do the same thing as always. Set the flaps a little bit, and then give it some throttle. Have these tooltips still turned on. Hopefully they won't be too intrusive. Just once you're airborne, you want to bring the throttle back a little bit. Flaps up, landing gear up. And once you've climbed above 1,000 feet, then you can look at starting to set up your autopilot. If you look at the autopilot, you can see the reference altitude is just above the altitude tape. So let's choose an altitude. Let's say we're going to fly to 5,000 feet. Now, in the old versions of Flight Simulator, what you would have done is set 5,000 feet and then clicked on the altitude mode. You don't do that anymore. With proper autopilot, what you'll do is click on the autopilot mode, and you'll click on vertical speed. And then once vertical speed is up, you set that to a preferred value. So in this case, we're going to set 1,800. Again, the vertical speed is just above the altitude tape. And you'll see that what the aircraft does is it starts to climb out using that reference speed. And it will continue to climb at that speed until it gets to approximately the desired altitude. In which case, it will level all on its own. You don't have to do anything. You'll also notice that it has switched there from vertical speed mode to altitude mode. The next thing you might be interested in doing is getting it to hold a steady airspeed. Now the airspeed hold in this aircraft has two little tricks to it. The first one, when you look at the knob here, you'll want to set this to engage selected airspeed mode. So you move that over to the right. Then you choose the airspeed that you want. So because we're down below 10,000 feet, let's set it to, I don't know, let's say 240 knots. Once the altitude is set, then you have to make use of the other little trick that exists on this aircraft. You'll see that there is no button on the panel for airspeed. What you have to do in this one is you go down to the throttle levers, and there are two buttons here marked auto throttle. You don't have to click both of them, just either one will do. And once you engage it, the throttle works on its own. Choosing a heading works just like it did in previous versions. You use the heading knob, and so you could select, for example, you could say I'm going to go at 36 degrees there, and then you click on heading mode, and let's say whatever one you select. If you click on the middle of the button, what it will do is it'll use the heading that you have currently set. So I made that mistake there. So then what you can do is just go ahead and set it to whatever you want. Let's set it to 45 degrees. And you can see that the aircraft is turning to that. The aircraft also has the ability to set the radial frequencies, and do that using the touchscreen that's on the left-hand side of the yoke. So once you zoom in, you can see up in the left-hand corner, top left, it says audio and radios. So you click on that. It brings you to a screen that shows you all your current frequencies. And you could use the up and down arrows to go between different pages. So if you wanted to set your navigation frequencies, what you do is you go to, say, nav 1 here, click right on the numbers, and that brings you to this panel where you can enter frequencies. So let's say we want to enter a frequency of 111.1. Well, then you have two choices. You can hit enter, which will make that the standby frequency, or you can hit transfer, which will make it the active frequency, and whatever frequency was active will become the standby frequency. So let's do that. We can see here that it is 111.1 is the active frequency, 110.5 was the active frequency, now it's the standby. Then you can choose what you want your autopilot to follow, and do that by clicking on Home. Your nav source, you can use FMS, nav1, or nav2. And what that'll do is it will select something on your primary flight display here, and it will allow you to set it. Same thing as always. Once it's set, then you use the knobs to adjust it, and that way you can follow a course straight in. That's pretty much all there is to flying this aircraft. I'm going to try and do more tutorials like this one for other planes in Flight Simulator. So if you want to click like and maybe subscribe to this channel, then you'll be able to see more as I release them.